Okay, y'all, today we are tackling that super hard, kind of sucky interview question. How have you handled a difficult situation or conflict at work? No one likes this question, right? It's not a fun one. So today we will talk about how to ride the fine line of answering that question, right? Without sounding like we're a problem or other people are just super difficult in our minds. We'll talk about the right way to answer it, how to use that STAR method, and what not to do. So I am Cassandra. I help motivated professionals build their careers and businesses by giving practical tips to gain career confidence. Let's get started. Now, before we get into today's topic, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell so you know when new videos come out, because subscribing isn't enough anymore. And if you are here, you're probably trying to get some interview advice, and I give new interview tips every Monday. So get the notifications. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about how do you handle a difficult situation at work, or tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation at work. So first, let's think about the why behind the question. And I think this is something y'all need to do no matter what. I sat in a lot of interviews this week where people just answered point blank our questions, and I kind of went, why didn't you think about why we were asking it? Because if you had, you may have answered differently. So why are they asking this question? The key thing is they want to see how you handle conflict, right? So if they say, how did you handle a difficult situation instead of how did you handle conflict, just know it's all about conflict. I think too, sometimes they're looking for how do you handle taking responsibility, the way you treat others, etc. So you want to be mindful of those things while giving your answer. Now, to answer this, we go back to our trusty STAR method, right? It's situation, task, action, result. So first you want to give the situation and the task. Those tend to go together, and this is where you're going to focus on why was there a conflict, right? People sometimes just say, oh yeah, well, this person wasn't pulling their weight. Well, why, right? Give a little bit of the background as to why there became a conflict in the first place. This is also a helpful place to think about focusing on, was this a miscommunication? Was the why that this was kind of a one-time thing? This wasn't the status quo of the way things were at work. What set this apart to give it a conflict? Then you want to give the action. What did you do to help resolve this conflict or to resolve this conflict? Now, here's where we might want to add some things to kind of show some self-awareness and a little bit of understanding of proper ways to deal with conflict. So you don't want to say that there is a conflict and that you just started yelling at everybody. You'd be surprised. You'd think that wouldn't be everyone would know not to do that. Not always the case. So think about adding in details like, did you go home and think about it for a night before coming back with your response to the situation? Did you try to hear everybody out and gain different perspectives to see why there was a conflict? Give the detail to how you responded. A lot of people kind of go to the last step of their action, which was probably talking to somebody or organizing. It was the last step, but give the process of how you got to that last step, okay? Then, this is the key, and I always talk about this with STAR method, you have to give the result. People love to end on, yeah, I went around, they love to end on the action. Yeah, I went around and I talked to everybody and I realized, oh, the reason we had conflict was because this person was seeing the situation this way and this person was seeing it that way. And so I brought us all together to talk about our different perspectives and how we could work it out. They love to end there. That's not the result. The result is what happened after that. Did that work it out? Did the people then see each other's sides? Did you all come to one final strategic goal with the situation? You've got to give that result. So make sure to add that part. And then lastly, what not to do. We do not want to throw people under the bus. So even if your conflict is that you had the worst boss on the face of the planet, we do not want to say that. We have to give some sort of understanding to why the other person might have been difficult. So just make sure in your answer to this question, you don't throw anyone under the bus. Now, some tips on this. Practice this at home. If you do not practice, you will throw somebody under the bus because you haven't thought about the way to craft kindly their position. So make sure you practice this at home, and the first time, write it out the way you'd write out your answer if you were talking to a friend. So say, well, my boss was a monster and had way too high of expectations and wanted me to do way too much in this amount of time, and there was just no way, there was a time conflict with another thing, right? Go through that ranty version. Then go back and reword it and soften it so that you have some understanding of your boss was dealing with a lot at once, and so that carried over onto you, okay? But you can't get there if you don't write the crazy version, the like word vomit version first. So do it at home so you don't say that in the room. So that is it for today's video. I hope this one has been helpful for you. If you need more interview tip help, I have a whole playlist for you right here, and down here is a video meant just specifically for you. I promise it's YouTube's algorithm telling you what to watch. And like I said before, I do have a whole interview prep checklist. Oh, I can't talk. Interview prep checklist in the description box below. So go fill that out so you can get that prep list and be ready for your next interview. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.